So, good evening, FabrianoInAcquarello 2021 audience, and welcome to the Monday appointment dedicated to the platform and dedicated to the interview of the platform and leader admins. We start with the first topic today, that is the presentation of the International Watercolor Platform. And I share with the audience my screen so that we can talk and have vision over a common topics, and we can communicate in an easier way. And here we are. This is the International Watercolor Platform, and FabrianoInAcquarello 2021 is very happy to present his audience the International Watercolor Platform and the forums inside the platform. The International Watercolor Platform you can find at this link, that is internationalwatercolormuseum.com. And what is the International Watercolor Platform? It is a worldwide watercolor directory, and it is a common project developed by the contemporary watercolor community of the world. It is as well a meeting place for the international watercolor community to meet and to connect and to share communications and information in a close place done only for the community, for the world community. It is not a social network, but it interacts with all the many social networks that are in the internet, and it is a kind of self-network to organize the international communication about watercolor among all who play a role in the water-based art field. They can be very many, not only artists, but also masters, audience, schools, producer of art materials, art societies, brands, museum, galleries, curator, art experts, students, and any other groups or individual person involved in watercolor. The platform through a personal profile, and the personal profile is not only for the people, for the single person, but it is also a profile for society or any other kind of groups that is inside the platform. So the platform, through this space, this personal profile, presents the social networks and the personal websites of each member or of all the above listed categories, with the task to promote inside the platform networks, or best to inform about the artists and the other actors of watercolor world by their own communication channels, the same that they have used since ever. I give you an example. Myself, Anna Massinissa, I have a website, or I have a Facebook page since many years. This is also a way to communicate about my personal art position, and the platform will join together any kind of link or any kind of presentation I have used all along my professional art life to present me to the other members of the network, of the platform network. It is It is also a will of the International Watercolor Platform to give high visibility to watercolor events and to all the artists and to all the other actors inside the platform across the globe. Who can become member of the platform? The platform is open to anyone with no limitations, but the request to be seriously interested in being part of the platform networks. To enter the platform is very easy. Everyone can subscribe by a standard process, by a user and password protected system, as it is in the international law indicated by the whole international network platforms and any other place. Sorry, I asked if anyone has his microphone open to please close so that we can and anyone can ask to be removed from the platform whenever you wish, and is guaranteed most privacy in accordance with the international laws. Who does the watercolor platform belongs to? It belongs to the International Watercolor Museum and to Inarte, who has done the investment to build the startup software. The job was done together with the FabrianoInAcquarello leaders community and together with an extension of the International Watercolor Art community to constitute the country community of administrator of the platform. It is a strong task that, same as the museum collection, the International Watercolor Museum collection that gives the domain name to the platform may become property of the watercolorists of the world by a future federation that could join any kind of society or single subject. And these we must plan together as soon as possible, but later on, once the community has become wide and we have started to construct the network. Why the watercolor platform? For many reasons, but let's try to find together at least 10 good reasons to be part of the watercolor platform members. First, I can list the communication. So it's important to communicate the own profile or data whenever I am an artist or a society or a school or a brand or whatever. Second, could be to search the base important information about the world artists, the societies, the produce, and so on. So communication and searching. Then third point could be to present a minimum of artworks and our own art profile, and to be able to upgrade them, to present, I mean, to present to the network, the International Watercolor Platform network. Another point could be to search the categories of members divided into countries area or into categories. Another point could be to be part of a network, or we can call it world community or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, it is a large group that is actually the watercolor platform directory. For those who are used to use technologies, a directory, it's something very sure and it is something very important. It is something that gives the history of whatever is content inside the record of the directory. Another good point to be part of the international watercolor platform could be the need to be part of the world network and to be able to enjoy the social network's huge quantity and super fast information system, because remember that the platform has inside all the link each of us has inside the social networks, but also to be able to focus on the essential information to be given or searched about each of us. I think this is the most important point, because maybe all of you agree with me that the networks already gives us, the internet already gives us the possibility to search and to give a lot of information about ourselves. But the internet information, especially in the social system, goes super fast. And we, as watercolorists, as artists, absolutely need to focus on some essential information that each of us can have always in front of our eyes to be exchanged to each other. And let's find more reasons to join the platform, and maybe we can share to each other. Now, I go to the platform and let's have a fast look on what the platform looks like. And this is the International Watercolor Platform homepage. And it is, as you can see in the top bar over in the browser, you find it at the domain internationalwatercolormuseum.com. And here it is, all the tools that the platforms give the possibility to be used. There is a first section about use and privacy with all the international laws explained and all the different organization and use of the platform we try to explain, with some frequency asked questions to be read to understand better what the platform is and how it works. There is a calendar. I go very fast so we don't lose time, but later on we invite all the audience to personally get inside the platform and find out all the tools, how they work. So there is a section about a common calendar to share the main important appointments about watercolor in the world. There is a section about the communication, where we can communicate to each other in relation to the different countries or in relation to the different role we have inside the platform. And there is a section dedicated to the members that is actually the most important. And this section is the one, is the tools that we can use to search and find all the members inside the platform. And then there is a section dedicated to the forum and to the common exchange of informations. I go back to my relations about my lecture about the platform. Then we try to go on the field to give voice to those who are already in and to talk to us, talk to the audience about the use or not use of the platform being important for us in our next future. I give you some numbers about the platform at today. The platform was officially started in June 2020, actually after a few years of thinking and planning how we should have developed it. But the COVID time gave us the start to faster the opening, the official opening of the platform, because we felt that we needed more than ever a place that where the watercolorists of the world could have met. And at the moment, 1,922 members have subscribed inside the platform. About them, only 1,301 members are visible in the member research tools, as they have compiled a base personal profile. This is the first requirement to be visible inside the platform, because it's not enough to have subscribed as a member, but the members must provide to the community he comes to belong to some information about himself, or some information about the society, if it is a society, or whatever else role he has inside the world of watercolor. The platform was done on the base of 5 tools that are those we have just seen inside the home page, that is the calendar and the research of the members, the presentation of the members, and the communications and the sharing of informations. But it is still developing in more tools and more service, as we think it is its task, the platform task, to do it in accordance with the members' needs and requests. 2020 Horizon Challenge was the first international challenge to use the platform tools to collect all artworks and propose them in a database to the jury for the selection. This was actually an experiment, and as from my point of view, the experiment was succeed very well the task that we wanted to test. And it was great to have the possibility very fast, very professionally, and very seriously to ask the watercolorists of the world to subscribe inside a digital protected database the information they wanted to be sent to the organization to do a serious jury selection. I go on, and we will talk about this later on, even at the end of this FabrianoInAcquarello 2021 weeks, when we will have a special window, a special appointment for the Horizon. So I go on with the numbers. The platform has at the moment 6 forums, and the forums have just been developed in the last very few months to stimulate the sharing of knowledge and the need of opening a discussion on the important topics about watercolor. This is a lack, and we were talking about this yesterday morning also. All of us feel a very deep lack inside the watercolor world about some tools or some topics that we have missed to be developed in the past years. And the forums may be the way that we can use to open a discussion, if a discussion is needed, or to open a window where that we can use to collect information to become a common property, and that we can share to each other. Many more forums, topics, and tools are under construction, so are not still visible inside the platform, but they will be very soon, because for this I thank very much all the leaders and the admins inside the platforms. Very many leaders have tried to give their effort and their knowledge to improve this section. And this is probably the main focus of the platform, that it is the need to share and the need to communicate to each other and to start constructing the history of watercolor that has always been forgotten to do in the past years. Now, we feel the huge work done in the past months is only the very beginning of the base to develop a system where the identity of watercolor art can sit and become the value to support watercolorists to grow high. Because, as we always say, alone, each of us is a good, low, medium, great artist or watercolorist involved, or any one kind of subject involved in watercolor, but all together we are the watercolor world. This, remember, this can make the difference. And now let's go to present the forums. So I close the sharing of my video and I go back to the big family. I don't like to call it family, because we are a community, because we share in a professional way. We really share topics and matters and feelings and passions. And this is the family I'm proud of. And I ask Lauren McCracken, who is the head of the watercolor, the international watercolor platform, because he started with me to think about this tool and to develop this tool, to please take the camera and inform us a little bit more than what I did.
Thank you, Anna. I'm delighted to speak out on behalf of the platform. It's been as Anna said, she and I have been discussing this for many years about the need for a place to go on the internet to exchange ideas with other artists, to communicate with other artists, and to have a place for resources. There is so little written about watercolor out there in the world market that we needed a place to go to. And I'm going to ask George Politis and Win Vogel to join me in this conversation, because we have been working on what I think is the typical and ideal platform. And let me explain to you what we've been doing. We've been creating a platform for curators. And so what does that mean? It means that if you were going to put on an exhibition of watercolors, what do you need to ask yourself before you do that? What are the requirements for having an exhibition? So the platform for curators gives you a place to go. So you can see questions asked. What's the venue? Do you need jurors? How do you manage jurors? And one of the ways we're setting this up is that anybody can pose a question, and then the three of us will be monitoring those questions, and we'll be answering the questions to the best of our ability. But the goal is that all of you from time to time will go on and look at each of these different forums. And if you see a question posed that you know an answer to, add your answer. Expand the knowledge of all the people that are looking at the platform. And remember, the platform is only going to be as valuable as when we use it and when we add information to it. As Anna has, here's some great examples of some of the forums. I'm going to be, part of this week, I'm giving a a presentation on the history of realism and how it impacts watercolor today. We're going to put that on the forum. All of these kinds of things. If you produce a paper for whatever reason out there, for your local watercolor group or a magazine or a book, also publish it on the forum. So all of us around the world can have access to your thinking and your wisdom. I think that we originally saw the platform as a place to just go and see who was doing watercolor around the world. And the platform is really important for that, because you could go to the member section and it's searchable by country, by person, all of that. But what we really realized is that it's this kind of information that we can create as members of a worldwide community of watercolorists that can add value to not only to an individual's ability to paint better and be knowledgeable about a watercolor, but it can raise the value of watercolor in the international market. The more information we can put out there, the more information we can share, the better information and quality of information everybody in the world will have access to. And one of the things we have been talking at some length with is all of the manufacturers of art materials out there, and we're getting them to post the information, the technical information, not just the 4-color high gloss advertising about their products, but the technical information of where to go. You can go Daniel Smith and you can click on a link to their website from the forum and find out the details you need to know about their products. This is, as Anna likes to talk about, this is the Wikipedia site of watercolor. The idea is come here first, because by populating the forum and all of the platform, then this will provide you the encyclopedia of watercolor knowledge. And we encourage your participation. Anna, what else should I add?
No, I think you said a lot of very interesting things. Maybe we can give now the camera to one of the leaders who is taking care of the other forums. Like I know that Angela Barbie or Win Wojel or Johnny and Katerina, they want to talk about their forum and the way they are trying to organize them, because as I told, we have just started. Who wants to be first?
I can talk for you, Anna, if you like.
Okay, please go on.
Okay, we've been doing this for a few months now, and George Politis was the first one to join me from Greece. So it was really exciting to have interaction with another leader and get to know that person more closely, as Lauren says. And then Lauren has joined us, and we're talking now about the Curators Forum. And we hope that at some stage we're able to not only bring you information that you can research, but some stories of people who are doing amazing jobs as curators, so that you get excited. You can see different sorts of curation from across different parts of the world. And we'd really love everyone to get involved with suggestions and ideas for us to use of different curators. Everyone has a different festival that takes part in their part of the world. So if you have any information about someone that you really admire, we'd love to hear about this, so we can actually talk to them, get their permission to use their information and add their stories to the Forum for Curators, not just static information, but information about festivals and the way these people that are organizing these festivals put them together. So it would be fun to have that sort of information come to us. Anna?
Thank you, Win. And Angela and Vladimir, do you want to introduce your forum?
Yes, of course, please.
Yes,
Are you there?
can I speak? Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, we hear
Yes. Oops, shall I speak? Or you speak?
you.
Okay.
Please, you.
Angela, go first.
I will start then. Yes, I go first. Thank you for this opportunity. I think that all watercolorists really will, as Lauren said, take a lot of information and have a reference place for all the things that are happening in the watercolor world, all the things that each of us experience in different paths that we can put together. It's very, very good that there is a common place to do that. Vladimir and I are in charge of one of the forums that is the schools, the places that teach watercolor or painting in general, and we are doing a research what places and what how they teach it, what is their priority, creating more. We have started with one in Spain, which is not it's not uploaded yet for technical things, but we have the pleasure and the idea to do many more, and any suggestions that you have, we will follow as well. I don't know if Vladimir wants to add something else, but before I pass you on to him, I'm also, I have just recently joined another forum, which is the forum of research new techniques soon, and this very wide field of how to expand watercolor and how just to use pure watercolor, okay, but how can you expand on that? And as Nicola said, not to have or anywhere, what we are working on at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. We couldn't hear very well, so maybe actually Javier Gomezotto, who is working together with you at the second forum,
yes,
and had a few things, okay? Vladimir now, Vladimir turn now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I love the view that Angela has, and I have to share with all of you that Didier Brodes-Garadon is gonna help us to share knowledge and to have the different interviews we will have in the forum. The idea is to ask all the people to participate on the forums, of course. We are in charge of the teaching and learning forum. The target of the forum is to reflect to reflect on or to show the importance of teaching and learning watercolor for life, of course. It's a place to share and highlight the vision of different schools and teaching strategies to inspire teachers, to motivate the creation of new educational institutions all around the world, of course. So we propose to debate about the evolution of and meaning of teaching. Okay, both academic traditional languages or disruptive languages, alternative languages. I know, for example, what happens to me is when I go to any festival around the world, I see there is a lot of naturalism. There is a lot of like impressionism. But we know that in the last 120 years, there was a lot of other languages developing all around the art, before concept art, but after the Impressionism, okay? So there are a lot of, you know, the advance of 20th century that developed a lot of different languages, and we think that watercolor world needs to mix with all those languages to show more of this, the expressions, the possibility of how the watercolor can express a lot of different things a lot of different feelings, a lot of different experiments. So it's not about only teaching and learning. It's about teaching, learning, but to understand that art is not only communication. It's a therapy too. When we teach, we can understand that the students are making a communication piece, but they are having a therapy too. They are in this present moment and this present time, and this is a unique experience. This is a unique experience. So the idea is to share with all in this forum different strategies to teach and learn, and to show any kind of language, any kind of school around the world, any kind of teaching method. So I love to participate there, of course.
Vladimir, you said two things, and both of them are very, very important. I want to focus on them because it's really important. You said that teaching, it's something, it's an incredible experience, but it is also a very, very big responsibility.
Absolutely.
Because you have all in your hand, you have all the responsibility to grow the next generations who are going to grow art after you. Absolutely. And the other very important thing you said is that watercolor is made of all the different perspective that art had during the history of art. You have been talking about Impressionism and about Expressionism and about very many other things. And I think you are right. And this is something that we all feel, but we all must prove. And it is that watercolor can can join all of them, and all of them can be developed in an art that has a very high possibility, higher than any other kind of expression, applied expression art. Thank
Absolutely.
you, Vladimir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Vladimir, I have a question for you, if you don't mind. This is Lauren.
Yes, please.
The fastest growing education tools out there today are the online tools and the online schools. Are you going to address that, or should we have a separate forum that addresses online education?
Oh, you have a very important point, because teaching and learning has changed brutally, you know.
Absolutely. Yes.
My school is teaching online and only online to more than 300 students right now.
Okay.
So we have an opportunity to understand new strategies, new global strategies. I want to travel around the world and understand the methods of people in India, in Russia, because in Peru, I understand that every of us, we are trying to adapt this new time. But of course, I want to include all the technology changes in the forum. And I think that Didier and Angela wants to, without any doubt,
It's a real revolution out there, and I think a revolution in a positive way, because we will be reaching such a much larger audience out there. And one of the things we've seen in the last 2 years in the United States is a lot of people tried to do it, but didn't do it very well. But now the bar has been raised so high that I'd love to introduce you and the members of your forum to some key people in the United States that are doing a much higher quality instruction out there. And for instance, not just doing one-off demos, because you just get a taste of something. You really don't learn much about that. So the movement in the United States is to do a curriculum where you have multiple lessons that you take over a period of time, not just oh, let me see about this artist's technique. Let's learn about art. Let's learn about technology. Let's learn about philosophy. Let's all of this. And I think that's your goal.
Absolutely. We have a lot of things to talk about, but there's no time, of course, because we want to present all the other forums. But
sure.
I will short think about talk about this. We need to teach teachers. We need to ask communities to prepare more watercolor teachers, because we need to have educational revolution. We need to change the system, the educational system all around the world. We know that. So art is a very important subject in the new programs, because it makes our lives better. We improve our lives with the art. So we have any doubt that if we are all the time with a lot of technologies hitting our heads, we need to pay. We need to be in the present time working with our hands. So we need more things to help us be there, instead of working only with the phones and the computer.
Yeah, but at the same time, I hope that you will address the technology of teaching online, because it is being advanced so quickly with new microphones, new lighting, new cameras, and all that. We need to offer to our watercolor friends around the world what is the ideal electronic setup teaching environment, and what is the cheapest way that you can do it at both extremes.
I think this could be the topic for another forum. Some of us could take the responsibility to open a forum about how to use technology for the best inside the art field. That is not only watercolor, all the art fields.
Yeah, I would encourage
this. Would be very interesting.
Yeah, and do it in conjunction and a partnership with what Angela and Vladimir are doing. Have them participate, but I do think it's another group that needs to look at the technology out there.
Absolutely.
And let me add Didier, of course. And Didier.
yes, Didier is in this group, but we didn't have time to reorganize the image inside the forum. Let me add something, because we are in the right moment to say it. Yesterday, when we did the appointment with Simon Marcin about the exam that he presented to the video he presented for his exam degree about watercolor, about FabrianoInAcquarello. Simon told us that during the research that he did to make the video for the best, he found a lack inside watercolor world, because he tried to find out about historical information on watercolor, and at least in Italy, but I believe he did the searching in the web also, there is not that much to be written and to be told about the watercolor history. And so yesterday we opened a challenge, and we are asking officially now again to all the audience we have in the world, anyone who has important information to be used inside the watercolor, the international platform forum, or about watercolor history of art, to give us, because we absolutely need to build a place where we have the roots of watercolor art, how they have developed. Okay. So let's take this task, and let's take this challenge to be faced in the next months all together.
Well, I can contribute what I'm giving later in the week, a history of realism. I am creating a list of the reference books that I have used, and I'd be happy to post that with the script of my talk. Everybody should realize, though, that most of the books that were written about how to watercolor and the history of watercolor and all that were written 40 and 50 years ago, and they're mostly out of print. And so you really have to search for these sources. But thank goodness for Amazon and places like that. They can find them for you, but they can be very expensive. I'll warn you.
Okay.
But everybody should realize, though, that most
okay. Is Javier anywhere? Does he want to give more information about his forum, his next forum?
Yes, yes. Well, we have thank you, Anna. We have made some research about the topic, and thanks, Lauren, because the contact and Angela contact me also with some people that are involved in the production of the pigments, and we have learned a lot, and I think it's going to be very interesting to make the forum more prepared. So the topic is going to be how the watercolor lasts by the time, and I think everybody can tell us writing in the forum about self-experience. For example, in my case, I had an aunt that had a watercolor of 1865, and all the pigments in the paper were perfectly very fresh, as we were painted yesterday. So I was really surprised. This was in the 1997, more or less. So and she sold it to somebody. I don't have place to cash it, but there's just an experience. So I think that's something that you can share with us in the forum. Besides, we have in Mexico somebody that made his own pigments. He's a self-producer, and we want to make an interview with him to ask him to tell us the way he does it, and if the guarantee of a pigment like that can be I don't know if you can compare with the others that we have in the commercial art supplies. And I don't know, I think it's going to be very interesting because it started emerging many things. And of course, we are going to make some about experiments, because in the experiments we have that question also. If when you make an experiment, if you're going to keep the permanence in your watercolor. So I think we have a topic very interesting to talk about. So I hope all of the people that are looking at this very interesting and the most important of watercolor soon in this moment, I would like you to invite to apport information, and it's going to be very well for us to make it more rich.
Thank you, Didier. We only have 10 minutes more left, so I want to give the camera to the new generation of watercolorists, that we are very, very proud of them. And please, Johnny and Katerina from Greece, tell us about your experience, tell us about yourself and about your forum.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, thank you, Anna. I believe it's safe to say for both of us that we are extremely honored to be part of this community. And we already feel you as a family. We're very, very happy to be here. And as young artists ourselves, we have both exhibited as under 30 artists with Greece. And we love that we have the chance to give an opportunity to other young artists to gain some visibility, because it's always a struggle in the beginning of our career to you know, exhibit and make a personal style and make connections, find your influences, talk with artists from all over the world, and make yourself known. So we love that we have the opportunity to help them with that.
Yeah.
Just like you are helping us.
Yeah, and also if you are an under 30 artist, or you are just starting now with watercolor,
Please contact us.
Contact us, and don't forget that if you need any help from anyone, you can ask.
Yeah.
We are here for you. And remember that any watercolor master that you admire was in your place by some point. So we are all together to this journey, and we all love art.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Caterina. And please just let me say about my forum also that I started together with Nadia Berardi, and I take the chance to thank Nadia very much, because she's doing the real job together with me about the forum. And also Nadia and I have opened this forum. This is about focusing on talented artists, and we thought that we should give the camera, we should give the stage for a moment inside the International Watercolor Platform to the artists that we love more, not because they are the best, not because they are more important than the others, but because Nadia and I really appreciate them, really love them, and because maybe they deserve a place inside the platform. So this is just the beginning. We started with 4 names, and all the 4 we really like, and we really feel that deserve the place we have given them inside the forum. Of course, it is our perspective, our point of view, and we are also open to be pushed or to be informed about other talents that we don't know, and it will be a great joy for us to know those talents first. So I go back to all forums. I think that we have talked about all of them, but we miss the Christine Prush-Dishlik and Raul Chakraborty forum about focusing on galleries. Is any of them here to talk a little bit, to tell us a little bit about this forum expectations?
Hi, Anna. Yes, Christina here.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, of course.
Yes, okay. So yes, together with Raul, we want to also have a conversation about galleries and how they work. And we thought, because of these last 2 years and COVID and the situation around the world, that we start by talking about online galleries. And how can artists who don't have the possibility to show their art in normal galleries now because it's been closed, or no festivals, nothing. So how can they be seen? And so we've been researching, and we're trying to give tips, and also hopefully people will talk about their experiences, and that way anyone interested in starting or trying to market their art on an online gallery will have a place to look for, if they have any doubts or questions. So, and eventually after that, we'll also focus on other galleries. So if anyone knows of any galleries that they'd like to made known out for the whole world, please get in touch with us. So, that's it.
Right.
Thank you.
Anna, turn on your mic.
Sorry. Yes, I was saying that we are almost done, even because we have to give the line to the next topic, that is the Shikha gang interviews to the International Watercolor Platform admins. But if any of you wants to add something that we have forgot to say, they can do, or I add that anyone in the world who wish to welcome the platform is very welcome. All the information are already inside the platform in the info page, of course. And Clelia and I are full-time here, ready to welcome any request and to help anyone to get in and to organize his own page. And anyone else wants to talk? So I propose that we just to give a sign to the audience, we close all our cameras just for 2 or 3 seconds, and then when we reopen, Shikha can start her part of the meeting. Bye-bye. See you in 3 seconds. Okay, so again online with all the FabrianoInAcquarello leader community and the watercolor International Watercolor Museum and International Watercolor Platform admins. And we are now online to give the main camera to Shikha Garg from India. And she is the representative of the admins community inside the platform. And she's the one who we asked to start this interview to talk about ourselves and to get presented to the world audience. Please, Shikha, go on.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much. So good evening, everyone. Anna, are we live? We can now start the interview.
Yes, of course.
So good evening, everyone, and welcome to this FabrianoInAcquarello 2021 appointment and discussion on art. I'm Shikha Garg, a watercolor artist from Bangalore, India. And, I want to share something with you all. In 2019, I had visited FabrianoInAcquarello Festival, and I felt that my perspective on art, on life, everything changed. It got a total transformation. And the energy and the vibrations I got from these hundreds of beautiful artists out there, I mean, it really changed me. So I'm really excited today that, we'll be interviewing some very talented artists and get to know their perspective on art, on watercolor, and in general. So let's start with introducing them. These artists represent their countries as country and forum administrators for the Fabriano International Watercolor Platform. And today we'll explore their thoughts and beliefs on art. So before we start, maybe all the interviewees can keep their speaker view and mute themselves. And just when their name is called out, they can unmute themselves. So I'm going to start with introducing a very wonderful artist from Spain, Angela Babi. Welcome, Angela. I'm very happy to have you here. Do tell us a bit about yourself. You will have to unmute yourself, Angela.
Yes, yes, now. Hello, I am an artist from Spain, and I started doing many other techniques, but ended up for the last years, I've done watercolor, and it's a really technique that I love. I did silk and I did even acrylics. But now it's mainly watercolor, what I do, and I'm in love with it.
That's great. Thank you, Angela. Our next guest is Giovanni Patrinamis, and from Greece. So, Johnny, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yes, of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Giovanni Patrinamis from Thessaloniki, Greece. I am a watercolor artist, and I am the admin for a forum that focuses about artists under 30 years of age. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Johnny. We also have Katrina Christou here. So welcome, Katrina, and tell us a bit about yourself.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm also a figurative artist. My work focuses mainly on watercolor and oil. And I tend to work mostly on portraits and figures, sometimes still lives too. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Our next artist is Vladimir Murchansky from Argentina. Vladimir, we'd love to hear about you.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. I am dedicated to teaching and of course to learning all the time, because if you teach, you have to learn all the time about watercolor. I am the director of the first watercolor school in the city of Buenos Aires, the capital of Argentina. The name of this school is Tanta Tinta. The last years, we have been developing a really interesting project to which I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life. I am referring to the International Watercolor Teacher Training Program. So I'm grateful for the support that Fabriano Festival and all the watercolorist community give to this project that means a lot. It means so much to me. So it's really, really important to be here and can talk about all that, of course. And I am administrator in a teaching and learning forum in the platform, in the FabrianoInAcquarello organization. And I helped FabrianoInAcquarello to reach and select different artists from around the world for the international stand.
Yeah, that's a wonderful endeavor, actually. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our next artist is MD Kausar Hussain from Bangladesh. Kausar, would love to hear about you.
Hello, I'm MD Kausar Hussain from Bangladesh. I study in sculpture. I'm from the sculpture background, but I love watercolor very much because it's my passions. I have an artist school here also. I have lots of school students and junior and senior. I have an art foundation, is Focus Bangladesh, to expose our country artist painting and something to expose in the world. I will try my best. I love watercolor very much, and I joined FabrianoInAcquarello a long time, so I love to do it. That's it.
Thank you, Kausar. Our next guest is Isabel Monero Alset. Isabel, do introduce yourself a bit.
Hello, my dears. I am Isabel Alset. I am representing the Spanish watercolorists in the FabrianoInAcquarello for many, many years ago, because I am the very old country leader for Spain. And practiced the watercolor for 40 years ago in Spain. In Spain, we have many corporations and many workshops and many very good artists in watercolor practice. I live in Madrid. I have my study. I am a teacher of watercolor. Thank you.
Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you, Isabel. Our next artist is Atul Panase from UAE. Welcome, Atul.
For me?
No, next artist is Atul. So we are just going to be looking for Atul Panase. Maybe he hasn't joined in yet. So I'll move on to the next art, Selma Toradova. Hello.
Yes.
Do we have Selma here?
Yes, I'm Selma Toradova.
Hi, Selma.
Hi.
Welcome.
I'm a professional artist. I passed High School of Fine Arts in Sofia and Academy of Arts in Sofia, Bulgaria. And I paint with different materials and different genres. I often try to get out of my comfort zone. my perspective in art is striving for increasingly unusual compositions in large format painted in a contemporary way with more freedom. About watercolor, I work in watercolor also.
Maybe we can talk about more of that after the introductions. So let me first introduce two more artists. We also have Dragana Dogic from Serbia. Hi, Dragana. Would you like to introduce yourself? You can unmute yourself, Dragana.
Okay,
yeah.
That's it.
Great.
My name is Ragnar Paikvist and I'm from Serbia, like you said. And in my perspective, art is not only media in only watercolor. I do all different kind of media, but I'm trying always to merge it together. That's the way I'm thinking about art actually. And I do it both ways, in social meanings and in technique. And that's very important. Like here we have online conferences about watercolor, but I'm thinking that all connections we have had here through FabrianoInAcquarello, we can enlarging all experiences, and that's very much good for my work.
Thank you, Dragana. Thank you so much. The last artist here is Giovanni Balzerani. Hi, Giovanni.
Hi,
Let's hear a
Shikha.
bit about you.
I'm Giovanni Bazzarani. I'm an Italian professional watercolorist. For the International Watercolor Platform, I country leader administration, and one of the 4 FabrianoInAcquarello leaders. And I'm very happy to be a part of with you and the other master. Thank you.
Thank you, Giovanni. Lovely. Okay, so I think the first question I have from all of you would be, what is your perspective on art and what are your feelings about art in general? And let's start with Angela.
I am unmuted, right? Yes.
Yes.
My perspective on art. Yes?
Yes. Your perspective on art. Yes.
Yes. Art for me is like the materialization, so making it physical, what there is in your soul. It's like getting out what is in yourself, and it becomes an object or a painting or whatever. So it's your soul getting out there in a physical shape, let's say.
Wow, that's lovely. So basically, you're saying that whatever you feel, your emotions, your thoughts, and your persona comes out in the form of a beautiful work of art.
And actually, I think there is no way you can avoid it. I mean, you can try to hide it, but you always paint yourself there. It's more or less, it doesn't matter if you are very successful, but you put yourself out there. And if you see some artists' personalities are totally reflected there, If you have a good heart, it will appear there. If your fears, your beauties, your love, whatever, if your ideas, even your ideology, I think that you make it like physical. It's a physical expression of your soul. That's my opinion.
Lovely. Thank you, Angela. Johnny, what's your perspective on art?
Okay, so art for me is a way to communicate, and I think that our views are formed by the aspects that create our identity, and this could be by any number of things such as gender, our race, our country, city, our education, family, and of course the masters that we admire and the artists. These things can form our experiences that can create our personal point of view and the way that we interpret our experience.
Yes, great, thank you. Katrina, same question from you. what is your perspective on art in general?
Well, I believe that art is a life choice, a way of life, because once you start thinking like an artist, you start seeing the world as one. So you draw inspiration and stimuli from everything you see around. Everything from a sound, an image, a thought that comes to mind when you come across something can be part of your art. It's all about your personal experiences, the way you view the world. And I think it's a life choice. Once you start living this way, you can't go back.
Lovely. Yeah, that's a really, really, I mean, very beautiful perspective on art. Okay, so we can move on to Vladimir. Vladimir, what is your perspective on art in general?
Okay, thank you, Shikha. Well, I agree with Angela about the soul, about the reflection of the soul. But if I analyze the social meaning of art, I'm convinced that art is a wonderful tool to improve people's lives. If we refer especially to visual arts, for example, because we have no doubt that theater or music improves our lives. But in visual arts, we think that, okay, this is an object in a museum, some people paint in a weekend, but our way of living in this technological world propose new spaces of practice, not only exhibition or business. That's why I think we need to make a revolution in the educational system to have more art in the world, more art in the schools. Art is, for me, an excellent way of communication, but also an extraordinary therapy, a unique healing tool. I think we have to learn to use it as a tool to live better, to connect with the present time, with the pleasure of making things with our hands, like a color meditation, you know? I believe that art is a tool for healing, not only personal, but social healing, you know?
Wow, that's lovely, Vladimir. That's a beautiful perspective. Let's hear from Kauser about his perspective on art.
Hello. Actually, art is a highly diverse range of the human activity. They express their artist skill and technique. So I think that art no need to any language. Sorry. Art have no need to language because the art have own language, international language. Yes. So I prefer art is very good for me and good for everybody around the world who loves art, so understand everything very easily. That's it.
Yeah. Lovely. Thank you, Kauser. Isabel, let's hear from you about your perspective on art. You can unmute yourself, Isabel. Isabel, I think you need to unmute yourself. You're on mute. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, great.
It's okay?
Yeah, it's okay. Please go ahead.
Okay. For me, the art is intimately related to human nature. Man needs to express himself so that everyone understands his emotion, his messages, and he does so through the different artistic manifestations. In my experience, for me, the watercolor is my life. Is my expression, is my the relax, is for me the communication with another person, for the relation, human relation is very important in this moment. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you, Isabel. That's beautiful. Okay, we'll go with now next to Selma. Selma, we'd love to hear about your perspective on art.
As a woman, as how to say, mother, I feel art as continue giving a birth. And this is very satisfying thing. all the time to create something, new, to create your child. And this is unique. This is so much satisfied me. Yes. And I want to have more freedom of creation, more taste, more good taste in my creation. So with little words, not much words, this is for me art.
Thank you, Selma. That's beautiful. As a mother, I think I totally understand what you're saying. You know, every piece of art is like a baby, right?
You can we stopped the woman in art. We stopped to give a birth, but continue to give birth with our art.
Yeah, thank you. Dragana, would love to hear your perspective on art.
Okay, it's very complicated to define that.
Yes.
And I will try to, because I am in art more than almost 30 years. And I done many different kind of arts, but in a first thing I am I have in my mind about art is need. I think in my case it's first thing it's need. After that we can express ourselves through different kind of media, and always finding the way to express our state of mind or some emotion or idea, and above all it's a very specific way to communicate with all the people. And because I'm thinking that the art is universal language, have universal language. I think everybody have to understand points or some kind of parts of artists, and with the big like how we said that message to outside from our inside, for example.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that, Ragnar.
Thank you.
Giovanni, would love to hear your perspective too on art.
Okay. The art, Shikha, is every technique all of my life. It represents the dreams. This pandemic created the new connection of the art, and but I think the art needs to be enjoyed, touched by hand. For example, I always love visiting the museum, so that I'm face to face with the old past artists' artworks that I admire. The past open my mind for the future, and I paint it with my eyes, not with my hand. My hand is the only tool from my body.
Okay, lovely. Thank you, Giovanni. So my next question to all of you would be, I'd love to know your perspective about watercolor in general as a medium. So because we all are watercolor artists. So let's start with Angela again. Angela, love to know about your perspective on watercolor.
Hi, Shikha. Yes, we are all watercolor artists, but I think more important, we are artists, and we are doing watercolor. Sometimes watercolor is like a need, because at least how I feel it, I started painting, I started discovering a color with watercolor, then developed into other techniques. And now for the last 15 or 20 years, I'm back to watercolor, because for me, it's what is more natural. And it's because you use the water, and we are also made in a big part of water. It's like a connection with myself, and it's also, it can express more the flow of my thoughts and my emotions because it spreads so much, and it also has a dialogue of its own. So you need sometimes to give a little bit of protagonism to watercolor, or you enter a dialogue. The same as in our world, you enter in dialogue with the other people. So that's, for me, watercolor. It represents quite the reality of what we live, and it's natural. That's my way of seeing it.
That's true. Thank you, Angela. We could hear from Johnny on this. Johnny, what's your perspective on watercolor as a medium?
Of course, yeah. Watercolor here in Greece is a very misunderstood medium, and is often treated of less value compared to other forms of painting. I think that this is wrong considered as a material for only sketches or quick notes. And as you all know, as a watercolor artist, watercolor has a life of its own. We fight with the paper, with the gravity, with the weather conditions if you go for a plein air. So it's a very challenging medium, and with one wrong brush stroke, we can destroy our painting. But this is the fun part, and we always learn from watercolor. I think that's it.
Thank you, Johnny. Katrina, I mean, you can also share your views on watercolor.
For me, watercolor became, it started as a way to be more free, because painting in oil can be has a very certain way of working, which is very disciplined and very focused. So I started watercolor to get a sense of freedom, to be more expressive, because it can be very unforgiving. I mean, you can correct your mistakes, but that's the beauty of it, because every mistake can give you a new sense of something about yourself and about your art, which you can learn to incorporate in your work.
Yes, lovely. That's a very positive way of looking at, watercolor. And Vladimir, love to hear your perspective on this medium.
Thank you. Well, what to say about watercolor? I think watercolor filled all my life. I live for watercolor, and for me, it's like turns the world on a magic world. I believe that watercolor is an extraordinary, it's a very sensitive or a unique technique. We used to say life exists thanks to the water, okay? This magical fluid, this magical liquid. But this is not just a simple metaphor. When we paint with watercolor, we fall in love. We feel the magic of the water. We feel the magic of the life. I don't know if I should refer to watercolor as an object or as a living being, When we paint with watercolor, we have a conversation with her, a dialogue, a chat. You have to listen. I have a relationship because she connects us with the universal essence. I feel that. In 10 years of teaching, I have seen the health that people reach thanks to the watercolor. Thanks to the practice of watercolor. I have seen so many students of all ages healing by the watercolor. That's why I believe that we have to educate the new generations to meet her, to enjoy her, to know the watercolor as a human being, as a living being. So we need institutions, we need to train watercolor teachers. If we increase the number of teachers and schools that includes the technique in their program, I am sure that watercolor will be able to acquire true professionalism around the world and to improve our lives and our health.
Yes, so that's so true, because the same way I feel about India, because art education in India is not given so much importance, in school. And yes, I think it's a big thing that a big change we need to bring about.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great, thank you. Okay, we'll go with Kausar now. Kausar, your perspective on watercolor.
Thanks, Shikha. Actually, it's my point of view. Watercolor is a painting method in which the paint and the made by pigment suspended in the water-based solution. So I think watercolor is a master media from my point of view. Actually, when we do watercolor, or one of the artists are doing watercolor, so you know the water plus color is become watercolor. So this is a relationship with water and color. And color and water make watercolor, and color watercolor painting become a big things, because when I feel my expression, my emotion, so it's very easy to convert in watercolor. I hope is the other media of art. So that's why I love to do watercolor very much. And I told you before, it is a universal language. I agree with Vladimir. Actually, watercolor in our country is not like in other art media. It is very neglected. But now become around 4 to 5 years ago, we are working watercolor too much. And now some watercolor artists grow up in Bangladesh. So they understand the real feelings of watercolor. I think that not feelings also not perfect. This is smell of watercolor. So in my point of view, watercolor is very necessary. It's very magical painting and magical brush stroke. And actually, when I do watercolor in paper, I put watercolor and color like that, so I can wait till the water be done. What's happening? I just wait up to finished. So it's a magic, and I think it's very. Actually, this is a master media. All the art side.
Great, thank you, Kausar. That's lovely. Yeah. We'd like to hear from Isabel now. Isabel,
Yes.
What do you think about watercolor as the artist?
Oh, okay. I see watercolor as a technique that we must now preserve. For me, it's very important the technique, the classic technique, because the difference with other media or mixed techniques is in the natural pigments that are used to make watercolor. They are resistant to light and remain in time without being disturbed in the time. White paper, water, and transparent colors are its identity, its quality, its learning is necessary, difficult, but the results fill the soul forever. This is of transport of the materials made in the ideal art to facilitate the travel and human relationships. For me, it's important the know and the learning the techniques of watercolor, because we are speaking about watercolor technique. Is Fabriano in watercolor? Thank you.
Great. Yeah. Thank you. That's beautiful, Isabel. Let's hear from Selma now. Selma, what's your perspective on watercolor, please?
Watercolor is very sensitive technique. It's because of that maybe many psychologists use it as a therapy. In Bulgaria, I'm sure not only in Bulgaria, but I'm sure that each artist use watercolor some period of his life or all life. I work with watercolor also many genres, portrait, landscape, nude. I also do fairy tale illustrations. I do lastly more figural compositions with watercolors, and my goal is to make more freedom in my watercolor and to do a lot of figures, many big compositions, big formats, and I think watercolor can develop in this way.
Great, lovely. Thank you. Thank you for your perspective. Ragnar, could you also share your perspective on watercolor and maybe why you love it or why you choose it?
Like I said before, I do artworks in different media, but for watercolor, I'm very stressful in the beginning because it's so free. But at the end, you have to control everything, and to make a good painting, it's very difficult, and you have to, how I said, to read water, because and pigment, because with very little elements, sources, the paper, the pigment, and the water, you have to produce some fast, and you have to producing fast, but in a way you have to control things, to dry, to very, very difficult technique. We know that, all of us, but in a way, what is important in my opinion for my work, I like to experiment. I like to do different kind of surfaces to work on, and because of that, the watercolor is very strict in some way, but I like to experiment, and I think in a way, because we all know that the water is has its own memory. It's very interesting to do with almost a live thing. I presume like that.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. We'll go with Giovanni now. Giovanni, love to know your perspective on watercolor.
Yeah, I don't believe, Shikha, the watercolor is considered a big serious technique as in the past. The watercolor now is considered the A-series top. The technology, as pussy it takes to the all artists in the world that make this happen. Watercolor for me is a challenge. Is to achieve the perfection as in the other techniques, to exceed a limit because of my style. It's a not easy technique, but it's a easy art for the soul. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Giovanni. That's lovely. Great. It was lovely to know, everybody's perspective on art and watercolor, because, each one of us feels differently about how, but I think the common thread is about expressing. It's about magic, that water and pigments create on paper. So that's lovely to hear. I have one more question. I want to know about an important choice each of you have made or done during your artistic life or your careers. So it's about something that a choice you made which influenced you or changed things for you. So we can again start with Angela. Angela?
Yes, I start. Huh?
Yes.
Well, when my son was very young, I started learning with the Waldorf's, the anthroposophy painting, which changed totally my perspective on what I had known before. And I there discovered the power of color to heal. It's like discovering color. You could discover parts of yourself and the theory of color. And that totally helped me to understand and go beyond my limits. And so it's also watercolor for the soul, not so much paint the subject, so not so much paint an object, I should say, but to let the feeling come out, and the object that you wanted to paint came subordinated to all of the rest. So it's more the path into abstract world that I started learning, which changed totally my perspective.
Lovely. So when was this, Angela, that you had this transformation?
Well, that was maybe 35 years ago. It was a long time ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lovely.
And so I learned how to express a feeling and then give the shape, not start putting a shape and then filling it up, but start with the shape and make compositions of color. And afterwards, you would maybe a shape would come out, or you would provoke it. And the color has many therapeutic properties. And it's not the same to paint in red than to paint in blue, or, you know, it's all of these things I learned and discovered and fell in love with it.
Wow, that's an amazing thing to have happened. Right. Thank you, Angela. Thank you.
Thank you, Shikha.
You're welcome. We'll go with Johnny again. Johnny, again, do you have anything very life-changing or any artistic choice you made which changed your life or your art?
Yeah. So actually, for Katerina and me, it's the same thing that you said in the beginning, because we went to Fabriano in 2019, and it was a life-changing experience.
Yeah. So, I think it's common for both of us because we went there together.
Yes.
Johnny was exhibiting as another 30 artist, and up until then I was painting in watercolor a bit, but I was very, very reluctant to show it. So I came just as a visitor. And seeing how open everybody was to show their art, share their tips and tricks and techniques. And it's not much of exactly a life choice for me, but it did change my artistic life because I started being more open to show my art and not be that hesitant, especially in color.
Wow, that's really great, because it's similar for me also. Where when I went there, I was, not that confident. And what I loved about Fabriano was the sharing of what everybody, all the artists just share so much. I mean, it's incredible, and it's very inspiring. Yes, so yeah, I totally get what you're saying. Thank you so much, Katrina.
Thank you.
We can ask Vladimir now about any such experience that you had, or any choice you made in your artistic career to change things.
Okay, of course. It's about painting and teaching, of course. The choices. When I started, I painted all my life. I started painting when I was a child, watercolors, and I never stopped. But I decided to study graphic designer. So it was really hard for me to understand how to support me economically in this country. It was not easy to live from art activity. So I chose to dedicate to graphic design. But sometime in a part of my life, I understood that I didn't like the role of the graphic designer. I really understood that teaching is absolutely different experience. When I choose to teach art, I understood something very deep, very transcendent. I understood that teaching is the clearest example I know of the existence of karma. When you give generously, you are actually receiving. You give, but you grow. Giving without waiting something in return, of course. That's a miracle, some kind of blessing miracle. You teach and you learn all the time. And that makes me develop a personal art language, but it makes me understand different points of view on the students. So it's like a tree, you know. You teach, and teaching is the roots. And you paint, and paintings are the branches, the leaves, the flowers, the fruits of this tree. So it's a perfect circle. Without any doubt, the most important choice I did was to dedicate myself to teaching while I am learning all the time, for the rest of my life, of course, for the rest of my life.
Yes. Amazing. Yeah, Vladimir, that's like really the crux of it, actually. When you teach, you learn from each and every individual you're teaching, right? And yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. We'll hear from Kausar now. Kausar, do you have any such incident or any artistic choice you made in your life?
Thank you, Shikha. Actually, my point of view, not it is my territory is little bit different. My father is an artist. He's very famous in our country, and my father have a handicraft shop. So I'm talking about 90s. So my father tried to do handicraft thing, making painting. So day by day, I will try to help him to do something. So after day by day, I fall in love with that. Okay.
Nice.
I told you before, I'm studying sculpture. For that reason, sculpture, that means actually, in the childhood, I try to make lots of creative things. Actually, I like handicrafts very much. After that, we try to support my father and father farms, and I will always, I'm the big son of my father. So family, part of family business. So I will always try to support my father about handicrafts and this painting and move on like that. So day by day, I told you, I'm too much attractive in art, and they changed my life. I finished my education, and then we come back. My father artist to support him. So this is changing my life to become art. After that, I do watercolor. I told you, and join Fabriano. It is very support to me and more active about watercolor, because when I go Fabriano to join, I saw a lot of master artist works. I am very actually excited to look their work, and after that I try more practice. I actually 100% sure with that. Actually, every time we are learning and teaching. So this is a part of life. So now with the art is my soul. I love to do paintings and other things. So this is the part of changing my life to support my father that time. So day by day, I fall in love with that. And now I'm freelance artist in Bangladesh, and I do lots of commercial work. And my family, everything, depended on this art culture and this kind of work. So this is my actually story about the background of art. Yes.
Yeah, wonderful. That sounds like a very inspiring journey, actually. Thank you, Kausar. We can ask Isabel now. Isabel,
Okay, yes.
Do you have any such incident in your life, or any choices you made?
Yes. For me, the most important thing was when more than 20 years ago, I stopped all activities to dedicate myself exclusively to teaching watercolor in my workshop in Madrid. When I discovered his magic, his surprise, my study is a therapy class and travel coexistence. This is for me very important, the human relations.
Okay, amazing. Thank you. That was great. Okay, so we'll go with Selma first. Selma, I mean, would you like to share any such important choice you made in your life?
I had many important choices in my artistic life, but most important, I have, as a professional artist, was whether to continue working as graphic designer and painting part of the time, or to work entirely in fine art, to be a freelance artist. I chose the second, and I do not regret it. And I have been working as a freelance artist for almost 20 years. and I'm very happy with the life I have.
Wow. I totally identify with that, Selma. I'd made the same choice and I also don't regret it. But yeah, it's a journey. Thank you so much, Selma. Ragnar, again with you, do you have a choice like that you made which changed your life?
I studied different faculty. I studied construction engineer, and I finished mathematical school, high school, and after that I decided to get to fine art faculty. Then my life is totally changed in every way, but I am very happy because I choose to do things what I love, and I think that's the most important thing. But in the other way, it's pretty hard to be freelancer. I done different kind of art, and now I'm thinking through the almost 30 years. My big experience came from people, because I go on festivals during all those years and meet very different people, and different from different countries. And the most interesting and most biggest event is FabrianoInAcquarello, because it's for me to be there, it was like a dream come true. A whole town is one atelier studio, and everybody are happy to play with colors and water. And because of that, I'm very grateful to Peja Cimovic, because I was in his team from Serbia, and afterwards he became international leader and put me in place of team of Serbia, and it was very big job for me, because it is hard to put people in watercolor, because it is not popular. And because of that, I started to make colonies, mini colonies for one day, and I presented that in Fabriano. And after that, we done it together, Peja and me. But after 2 years, we have to stop it because of COVID. And I hope, and we made the exhibition after all of two colonies, or mini festivals, how I say that. And that was very interesting, because people are now asking when we are going to do again that.
Yes.
And hopefully we will do it again, maybe next year. This year I don't think so. It will be COVID and else. But now I am very grateful to be in this community, may I say that, for Fabriano. And because of that, last year and this year, we do it a very big job for aquarel.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Ragnar. I mean, yes, let's hope that this ends soon and we can all be together in Fabriano very soon. Giovanni, any such very striking artistic choice you made, or in your life that really changed it?
Yeah, Shikha, allora, I have done 3 important choices for my life.
Oh, okay.
When I was studying at prestigious art institute in Rome, when I could touch great artworks with my hand, ancient artwork and contemporary artwork. The second, during my honeymoon, when I visited the famous Fellingwater Frank Lloyd Wright house, where in the house where the Frida Kahlo painting collection, I received the lightning strikes inside me. Okay, I decided my job for the rest of my life is an artist. Wow. And the deep choice is FabrianoInAcquarello. Fabriano changed totally my life, and allowed to know him, all of you. Thank you, all of you, for changing my life.
Thank you so much, Giovanni. That's so true. Thank you. Okay, so we are done with the questions, but I see Atul has joined us. Atul, you're there? So we can quickly ask you the questions. Great. So Atul, my first question to you is maybe you could just talk about art in general as well as what you think about watercolor in specific.
Okay, to me, art is the way of discovering myself and also people and knowing this world in a better way. Art is always ahead of this whole world. I'm saying because let's talk about going to the Mars. So before the scientists go there, artist comes up with the impression of how the planet will look like and how the satellite will be landing there, and the aircraft will be landing there and stuff like that. So what I'm trying to say is we are always ahead. Art is always ahead of everything. So art helps us to see the future clearly, and hence we can plan something in a better way. So art is doing a great job in this world while making the particular invention in much before it happens practically. When I paint, I always feel that the artwork is already there in my mind, and I'm just going through the painting the past. That means the art piece is ready. I just go through the process of making it. So for me, art is kind of a way of life, I must say, which helps me to get me pleasure of painting, creating something, getting friends, getting family, making meeting people, going places. So that's art for me. And when it comes to watercolor is the best medium for me to express myself. I love watercolor, and I love working with watercolor because of the flow of watercolor. And watercolor, I find watercolor very close to my life, or rather our lives, because watercolor is known as the hardest medium, I believe, because of the transparency. You see, in our lives, we cannot keep transparency, and it is very difficult to keep transparency. So watercolor is just like that. And also, there is no undo in watercolor. The same thing happens in our life. There is no undo. One, gone, it's gone. You cannot get it back. So watercolor is like our life. So I find it very close to my life. And watercolor allows me to experiment in a faster way. Whereas there are many mediums which like oil paint, and there are many mediums. They are not that fast. When it comes to painting on location, watercolor is the best medium, I think. And it's very easy to get your painting done and you see the result. So I think watercolor is the best medium among other mediums, although I love other mediums too.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you, Atul. And just one last question from you. Again, do you remember any important choice that you made in your journey as a watercolorist that maybe changed things for you or gave you a new perspective?
Okay, when it comes to choices, and if I talk about watercolor, FabrianoInAcquarello was the big break for me. You know, I was looking forward to something like this. People where I can see masters working together. I wanted to learn more, and it really changed my way of thinking. Also, it gave me a lot of confidence that, you know, I can really do well with watercolor. So my life was always, from the beginning, it was always about choices. And I started my career as an engineer. Like I started my education with mechanical, diploma in mechanical engineering. But then I made art my choice, because I found out that this is not my field. I cannot work in engineering field. So I was always artist from inside, and I wanted to practice art, you see. So then I made a big decision of leaving the whole engineering field and getting into art. And that really helped me to understand myself. It was not an easy way, but I never regretted it.
Yeah.
So today, if I want to choose, I would love to attend many festivals, art festivals. I like to go for art residencies where I can learn more and where I can meet more people and exchange my art.
Yeah, lovely. That's great. Thank you so much, Atul. I mean, that's probably
My
true
pleasure.
for all of us, that we have taken this choice to be artists, you know. Lovely. This was such an enlightening, experience to talk to all of you. And so many different perspectives came out, and people have shared their own lives and their thoughts on art. So thank you, everyone, from the bottom of my heart. And I wish you all well, and stay safe.
Shikha,
Yes,
sorry to interrupt you, but we want also your point of view on the same questions.
Sure.
Before you close, please, very fast, maybe.
Yes, I'll be very fast. So for me, art has always been part of my life, even in school. I was the kid who was always asked to draw the posters and do everything. So although I did study science, because of India's culture and how we push people to study, non-artistic things, but I think my first choice of getting back to art as a graphic designer was life-changing, because I always stayed with art because of that. And art to me is life. I mean, I can't imagine life without art. So when we come to watercolor, I discovered watercolor only in 2016 or 15 maybe, and I just fell in love. I mean, I saw the magic of how the water flows, and it's the transparency, the light which glows from when you paint in watercolor. And I think for me, watercolor is just a beautiful way of expressing yourself. As for an artistic choice, I mean, a choice in my life, two choices. One was when I decided to take a break from my work, my graphic design work, and I started exploring more of art. And I came back to the drawing board. I think that was a life-changing experience for me, because I discovered that, yes, I'm finally home. And FabrianoInAcquarello was the turning point for me. I mean, I just fell in love with all of you, with art, with watercolor, and there's no turning back for me. So I'm actually just waiting now for this pandemic to go away and meet you all again. So thank you so much, Anna.
Guys, we have to close, because in 2 minutes, the Isabel Alset class about creative watercolor and tricks in watercolor is going to start. So,
but not without saying a big thank you to Shikha, and a big super thank you to you, Anna, because you changed many, many people's lives. Yes. So well done.
Thank you.
not me.
Yes,
Anna.
very
much.
We did.
Well, I mean, Fabriano.
Yeah, we
Yes.
did it to each
Okay.
other. We did it all together.
No, but you put big effort for that.
So well said.
Yes, Anna, it's really
Let's
true.
go on with Isabel. Bye bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
See you tomorrow. Thank you very much.